women have a hard time trusting men. And I think it has to do with the fact that a real godly man who's been walking with God for a while can give up and lose anything, because he knows everything in his life could be used as a replacement for God. So that includes his wife, his children, his commitments, his character, his loved ones, It includes all that, his money. And so it's tough for women to feel any security in that, because, if your wife comes between you and God, you have to choose God, right? Now, does that just mean, like, if she's making it hard to pray, that you leave her or divorce her, kill her in her sleep? But what it does mean is that you would have to sacrifice your family and risk them, because you have to worship God. You can't deny Christ. It's just too dangerous to deny him. So I was just thinking about that, because I have been called, or I was called by God to give up a commitment I had probably about a month or two ago. It's been for months he's been telling me to give it up. The law of God requires punishments that man is not willing to. It requires enforcement that man isn't willing to do. Fornication should be illegal. Should be. It's not. We are entering a time of deprivation, where the difference between men will be decided by who is willing to lose what, and what you're willing to give up, what comforts and what even necessities you're willing to live without. And that time's coming. So you better learn how to deal with it, because we're going to be a small remnant in a land of alien invaders. Is what's going to happen. So why do the people of God always turn away? It's the only principle that applies like this. Pretty much anything will happen in its due time, on its own, if you just give it enough time, except for God. Because as far as worshiping God, because people always stop worshiping God, the actual God, and they'll worship every other God that they can, but for some reason it's so impossible for God's people to cling to God himself no matter what. And it's evil. It's the force of evil, but it's our own faults too, and it's just hard to explain. That's why, just so you know, the way this whole thing wraps up, it's not people slowly becoming aware of God and then following him, and then we become a nation of God and we're saved. That's not what happens. No, the world will keep chugging along with intermittent interventions by providence until the wickedness wins, until there's no Christians left. And then on that day, the world will end. I live in the South. There's Confederate flags all over. The way I was raised, a Confederate flag meant white power. The atheists keep telling me, well, the wise religious people I know don't sound like you. They say I'm free to do whatever I want to do. Well, they lied to you. I don't care how wise they seem. I don't care how old they seem. I don't care how much they've been walking with God. They are lying. You are not free to do whatever you do. You will receive punishment. And it's a very unique time in history where you can do it legally here on earth. In heaven, you'll receive punishment. But this is one of the few times in history where even on earth you didn't receive punishment. You will receive your punishment. You're not free. It's about death. People will die. It's going to be very violent. Just so you know, people die when justice comes in. I have reached certain conclusions. I hope you all have a good day.